the divisional round recap. It was maybe the best round of football there ever has been. We'll start with the Chiefs beating the Bills 42-36 in overtime. Patrick Mahomes left with 13 seconds on the clock to uh, take his team down to kick a field goal that would end up tying the game. Unbelievable. Boomy,
That was insane.
I do have some news for the people. I didn't watch the second half. I fell asleep by accident. I didn't mean to. I had a long Saturday night. I missed maybe the greatest half of football of all time.
I got your text this morning that you had woken up at like 11:30, and all I could think of was hey, you must have fell asleep for the best. Without a doubt, that was the best football game I think I've ever seen. And
Unbelievable.
it's, I mean, the implications on it. I think the two best teams left in the AFC, maybe in the playoffs in general, going into the weekend, and it was everything that was advertised. I mean, it was 25-21 right before the 2 minute mark, and it finished at 42-36. Patrick Mahomes had something like 188 yards after the 2 minute mark in the fourth quarter. It was everything as advertised, and I don't want to sit here and complain about the overtime rules, but that did really, show that they do suck, and the NFL needs to change something about that. But at the same time, like the Bills, all they had to do was step up and get one stop, and they couldn't do that. They had to play defense for 13 seconds, and they let one of the best tight ends in the league just skirt right down the middle and go for
Well,
like
you
40
say that,
yards.
Boomy, but like you said, the two defenses did not play well there in the last 2 minutes of that game.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If you want to win, you got to step up
Oh
and play
yeah,
a little deep.
that's yeah.
And
I would like for them maybe to switch to the college rules, but I'm okay with this overtime, especially in the playoffs, because you know what?
yeah,
There's got to be some pride in the defense, and you got to be able to trust your defense if you're in that spot. And unfortunately, the Chiefs got the touchdown and won. But it's not like they started anywhere closer.
yeah, yeah,
But it is
absolutely.
insane to think that if they just would have squibbed kicked that, I think that was what probably takes about 2-3 seconds off the clock. I think
Yeah,
that helps a lot.
I
That's
agree. I
insane to
think that
think
was
that you have to worry about that, but that's the kind of quarterback that Patrick Mahomes is.
yeah. You can't. I mean, he's so good, and especially in the playoffs. I mean, we're still only in what like year 4 of Patrick Mahomes, and he's
And the
still
crazy
proven that
part
he's
is,
this
I
good.
think Josh Allen is just about as good as Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and Allen even showed it there late in the fourth quarter. With his legs,
Some
and
of those
obviously he doesn't have
passes
the
are
speed.
unbelievable too.
He throws the ball so hard, and he's always been known as a rocket arm. But I mean, he zips it in there, and then like you said, the ability that he had to scramble on his feet. And I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is a different type of rusher. But Josh Allen, I mean, you can't undersell what he did with his feet to keep. I mean,
But
he
with
had
his
like a fourth and
size
eight.
too.
Yeah, he scrambled for a 4th and 8, and it's not like he's got blazing speed, but he knows when to use his speed and when to get in and out of situations, and he just did it very well. And it comes down to who can make the last stop, and unfortunately, that wasn't the Bills. So it
Boomy,
is
one
what it is.
question before we move on here. Do you think the Chiefs are Super Bowl favorites right now? They have to
Yes.
be.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll get into some of the other games, but I mean, Kansas City is going to be at home in the AFC
I would have said the
Championship
same thing about
against.
the Bills too.
Yeah, yeah, and especially with Cincinnati getting past Tennessee. Even if Tennessee wins that game, I still don't think Tennessee's the favorite.
I
Um,
couldn't believe
you
they were the
know,
one seed.
yeah, they kind of limped in there, and it took Kansas City having a really bad first 6 weeks of the season to get them into that spot. And I'm not downplaying what Tennessee did late without Derrick Henry, but
And
they really
I think
showed on Saturday.
if it really came out what kind of quarterback Ryan Tannehill really
Yeah,
is.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ryan
I
Tannehill is
hate to
Ryan
be that
Tannehill.
way. I don't mean to be that guy or whatever, but I don't think that I think that he's been overrated.
Yeah, I mean, he's ridden the coattails of Derrick Henry the last
He's a
couple of
good
years. I mean, it
quarterback.
showed.
Not saying that, but you've seen what he did in Miami, and then he had a little bit of success in Tennessee, and then he got the big contract, and now you're kind of stuck with a quarterback like that.
Right. And I mean, he was successful in Tennessee, and he was throwing the ball less than like 20 times a game. And he was
Well,
six.
yeah,
And
that's very true.
you
It's
even
easy to look
saw
good when
it.
you have Derrick Henry as your running back.
Absolutely. I mean, that's 100% it. I mean, he had weapons this year. I mean, I'm not saying Julio Jones is in his prime, but I mean, he had some weapons that he just could not get the ball to. And I mean, they are who they are, and Ryan Tannehill is who he is. And I think that
I hate to be
Cincinnati,
this way. A good quarterback is not throwing that interception. You cannot
no,
do that.
no, there was a lot of opportunities, but we'll get into that a little bit.
Let's move on to the Rams. They beat the Tampa Bay Bucks 30-27. And really and truthfully, the Rams probably last quarter or so, they didn't seem like they wanted to win the game.
That game had every implication of Tom Brady. I mean, he is what he is, and his career has been what it has been. But like that whole second half just felt like a wild horseshoe up his ass the whole time. I mean, they couldn't do anything.
He had so
wrong.
many chances.
Yeah. And then obviously Cam Akers with 2 fumbles, that kills, and the Rams still hold on at Tampa. I mean, that place was rocking, and the Rams, kind of lucked out there at the end. But a win's a win, and especially a road playoff win. You don't look at the fact that you were up 21-3. You look at the fact that you held on and you got the job done.
Odell Beckham playing really well,
making Cleveland look dumber and dumber by the day.
Matthew Stafford played pretty good.
Yeah,
he didn't lose the game. I think they got a little conservative there at the end when I think they punted. They punted. I think punted or kicked a field goal in their last 7 possessions. I think.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to bring up, and I was talking to my dad about this, and we'll talk about the Packers game here in a minute. But when teams get so conservative in the third quarter and early,
you're playing not to lose.
Yeah, and I feel like all it would take is some team that's just like, hey, we're just going to go out and run the same style offense we did in the first half, and don't get conservative. I think you might see a shift in that when teams get up, 21-3. You got to step on someone's throat and not get conservative, and you try to get cute and it doesn't work out, and you damn near lost a 20. I think it was 25-3 at one point. I think that was the lead. And they damn near lost that because they just got way too conservative. And,
really,
and I just feel like if you just keep the pedal down.
Bad defense there at the end by Tampa Bay, or that's going to overtime.
Yeah, man.
No, wait, not overtime. No, Tampa Bay wins. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, wait. They kicked a field goal. Right?
Yeah, mad game.
Okay, so yeah, it would have gone to overtime. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the Rams had back-to-back home games?
Yeah,
because the Super Bowl.
We saw
LA.
that last year. We didn't see back to back, but we saw Tampa Bay hosting a Super Bowl at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that'd
2 years in a row.
Who would have thought the Rams would be hosting this game?
They're just clicking on all cylinders, man. Like you said, OBJ looks like the OBJ that he was in New York. Cam Akers, I mean, he's 9 months off, or not even 9 months, like 7 months off of a torn Achilles tendon.
That's crazy that can happen.
Yeah, that guy's a freak. I mean, and Tyler Higbee is playing well at the tight end position, and Matthew Stafford is yet to, remember that he's Matt Stafford at moments. He's getting the job done, and that's really all you can ask right now.
He had a few moments there in that game, but played well, played to win the game.
Yeah, if you can minimize those moments, you're okay.
Yeah.
You just can't let one mistake turn into 4 or 5 mistakes,
Let's move on to the 49ers. They beat the Packers. Both number 1 seeds lose in the divisional round, which I that can't be that rare, but I don't know the last time that happened.
And Zach, we were a weird play. We were a weird play away from every single underdog winning.
Yeah, very true.
I mean, here's the deal with the Packers.
I just got to say something first before. I'm not even going to be – I'm a Bears fan, yes, whatever. That's what we're happy the Packers lose. But the way Aaron Rodgers played is terrible. Way you've never seen him play.
Yeah, and it's one thing. I mean, and the question last year always was the defense, and they shore the defense up. The Packers have had a top 10 defense all year, and they played great in the first half.
Points.
Yes.
Oh, 13, sorry. They gave up 13 points.
They did everything they could. They looked like, I mean, Zadarius Smith hasn't played since September 12th and comes out, plays well, gets, some big pressures on Garoppolo. Rashawn Gary, who I thought was going to be a bust there after the first year, comes out and is just an absolute menace on the defensive line.
I'm pretty sure he had a sack.
Yeah, I think he had 2. But then there was even plays where like the safeties and cornerbacks were taking such good breaks on balls. They weren't looking at the ball. They were getting there too fast, and the ball was going like over their heads. They were still breaking up passes, but there could have been, I think, the broadcasting crew even said there could have been a couple pick sixes if they'd have just had their eye on the ball. The defense did everything it could, and you took arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever throw a football, and he played his second to worst game of the season outside of the New Orleans game week
And what's
one.
he gonna? How is he only throwing it to Devontae Adams?
He was so tunnel visioned, and we mentioned this.
It was either Devontae Adams or a little pass to Aaron Jones.
5 people caught passes. And I'll give him this. MVS was out. So you still had Randall Cobb. You still had St. Brown. You still had Lazard. Lazard had 1 reception. Mercedes Lewis had 1 reception. And then the other 3 were the 2 running backs, Jones and Dillon and Adams. 5 guys. And it's because, I mean, there was that play we talked about. One of the worst third down plays I've ever seen Aaron Rodgers run. They had 2 guys. They had a tight end and another receiver open in the middle of the field, 3rd and 22, and he throws it 50 yards into double coverage. That Devontae Adams, there's no chance.
I think that was the worst play of the game.
That game is on Aaron Rodgers, and I'll say it's also on Matt LaFleur. I thought his play calling got way too conservative in the third quarter. Well, obviously special teams, but even when special teams is bad and you give up 13 points with Aaron Rodgers, you should win the game. The play calling got too conservative. They tried to play not to lose instead of playing to win. And Aaron Rodgers played one of his worst playoff games I've ever seen him play. And it's as simple as that. I don't want the guy gone. I'd love him to come back, but I mean, you can't just lay a turd there at the most important part of the season. And he did. It's as simple as that.
It's unbelievable the amount of times they've lost at home.
Yeah, you can't have that in the playoffs. You can't have the quarterback turning into, the old Madden cone tunnel vision on one guy for the whole second half, the whole game.
If you're the Rams, I think you're excited to see the 49ers. Their defense is going to be able to get after Jimmy G. It's in LA. It's not going to be cold.
And Zach, the 49ers won the first 2 games of the season against them.
Yeah,
hard to beat a team 3 times.
That'll be a fun NFC championship game. We'll have the 49ers going to LA to play the Rams. And then the last game of the divisional round, we had the Bengals beating the Titans 19-16. The losing quarterback got sacked 6 times.
Yeah. No, 9 times.
No, 9 times, sorry.
Yeah, 9 times, and he won the game.
And he won the game. That is unbelievable. The Titans just they were relied on Derrick Henry, which what do you think a guy is going to be like coming back from getting something put in his foot, first of all? He's a running back. It was cold out. And then you have Ryan Tannehill, who showed, yes, I cannot win a game.
Yeah, it's kind of
what I mean? I'm not saying he can't win a game, but he can't go win you the game. Derrick Henry has always been there to win the game for him.
Yeah. Man, you got to be thinking of that. If you're a Titans fan, like they did not get Foreman as many touches as they had, and they've been working well with that. But to me, it almost felt like it was a similar situation to the Packers game. When the defense gives up 19 points in the playoffs, you should be able to win that game. 19 points is enough. When the offense doesn't get it done, you can't do that in the playoffs and expect to win.
No, especially at home, you're the number 1 seed.
Yep.
You get that week off, and you go and you lose to the Bengals, and especially with the Packers, you have home field advantage again, and you lose at home. Like that's tough pill to swallow. But we'll have to see what Aaron Rodgers does. We'll have to see what Tom Brady does. We're going to see what a lot of these guys are doing because it could be the end of their career. You never know. The next few years, you'll be saying that about both guys. I think Tom Brady
we could be having this conversation.
I think Tom Brady will definitely retire before Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not thinking that Aaron Rodgers is thinking about playing football until he's 45 either.
Yeah, he's got like more, going outside of football. He seems kind of, other interests.
And with that said, We have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes that are going to be playing for the next few years,
Joe Burrow.
10 years or so. Joe Burrow. It's going to be fun to see these quarterbacks grow up in a way. But for right now, they are all in the conference championships. And
Yeah.
it's going to be like you're going to be seeing Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Burrow playing each other for a long time, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah, the only odd man out there is Jimmy Garoppolo, and even he's still not that
Yeah,
old. It's not like
it's
he's,
crazy how
38.
he played in that game and won.
Yeah.
But hey,
Two
he won the
interceptions
game.
and you
So
win.
what are you gonna do?
Yep.
So we got the Bengals Chiefs in the AFC Championship game and the 49ers and Rams in the NFC Championship game. Kansas City will host the AFC game. LA will host the NFC game, and then the Super Bowl will be in LA. So that'd be interesting if it's back-to-back weeks in LA.